In a dramatic finish at Stamford Bridge, Joe Curry reports.
In the three-way title race, which has already seen many twists and turns, it was over to Liverpool for the next move. A win would see them back into first. Their opening goal was a gift. Goodness knows what Ivo Grbić thought he was waiting for, but his lack of urgency was costly. The home side heading top of the Premier League, courtesy of Darwin Núñez's backside. For a team who haven't won at Anfield in 30 years, Sheffield United then struck an almighty blow after the restart. Neither team's keeper having a very good night.
The back of the net, Keller.
Liverpool needed a goal. McAllister provided it with this sweetly struck effort to the relief of the crowd. Gakpo added a third late on to seal the deal. Liverpool with a 2-point advantage and 8 games to go. Elsewhere, a clash further down the table at Stamford Bridge saw Conor Gallagher put Chelsea in front after just 4 minutes.
And Garnacho's the one running through the middle.
That lead was doubled before United staged a comeback. Garnacho and Fernandes drew them level before the break, before Garnacho thought he claimed the winner. A penalty in extra time had the match heading for a draw, before this deflected effort in the dying seconds stole the win on a memorable night in south-west London. Joe Curry, BBC News.
Time for the weather now with Ben Rich. Getting a bit warmer, isn't it, Ben?
Well, a bit warmer, yeah, but that's only part of the story, Reeta. There is a lot going on, actually, over the next few days. Some warm weather, yes, as Reeta said, some wet weather, but also some windy weather, thanks to Storm Kathleen. This storm named by the Irish Weather Service for impacts it will have in the Republic of Ireland, but even for the west of the UK, it's going to bring gales this weekend. Here is Storm Kathleen just developing right now, still a long way to the southwest of us. But in the shorter term, we already have an area of low pressure in charge. That is throwing heavy rain northwards through the night, and not only rain, some snow mixing in, even over fairly modest hills in Scotland, because here, a cold night. Compare that with much milder conditions further south. So into tomorrow morning across Scotland, if you're starting your day here, expect heavy rain at low levels, but over the hills, significant snow above 300 metres elevation, where we could be looking at 10 centimetres of snow or more. So some really tricky travelling conditions across Scotland. Elsewhere, some heavy rain across eastern England. That will clear for England and Wales. It's sunshine and showers day. Northern Ireland also seeing sunshine and showers. It is going to be pretty windy tomorrow, particularly out towards the west. Cold in northern Scotland, but elsewhere warm. 15 degrees for Belfast, 18 degrees for Norwich. And then here comes Storm Kathleen, this deep area of low pressure. When you look at her low and you see all of these isobars squeezing together, that shows that it is a pretty deep feature, some strong winds. Gales around western coast, some showers or longer spells of rain. The winds gusting at 60, maybe 70 miles per hour for exposed spots in the west. But those winds coming from the south. That is a warm wind direction. Saturday, as well as being a very windy day, could be the warmest day of the year so far, 20 or 21 degrees. For Sunday, well, not quite as warm. Temperatures dropping off a little bit, but still not doing too badly. There'll be some sunny spells, some showers too. Still pretty windy, still with the chance for gales in the northwest of Scotland. The weather throwing plenty at us over the next few days. Reeta.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Ben. And that is tonight's BBC News at 10. On BBC One, it's time to join our colleagues for the news where you are. Good night.
Thanks, Reeta. I'm Dan Pallett, and you're watching Midlands Today. Good evening. Stoke-on-Trent City Council stands accused of selling the city's crown jewels after the Labour-run authority sold its stake in a firm created to develop the area. The council has sold its share in a regeneration company for £5 million. Conservative councillors say that's much too cheap. Here's our Staffordshire reporter, Liz Copper.
This land in Etruria is one of the sites developed with impetus from Stoke-on-Trent Regeneration Limited. The company was established more than 30 years ago, a joint venture between the local authority and St Modwyn Properties. Stoke-on-Trent City Council had a 19% stake in the company. It's just sold its shares for £5 million, but that deal's been criticised. Opposition Conservative councillors have concerns over what will happen to areas of green space, such as here at Berry Hill Fields.
Labour Stoke-on-Trent City Council has sold the crown jewels of the city's green spaces, like Berry Hill Fields, for £5 million to these multi-billion-pound property developers. And that's going to be a decision that this council regrets in the years to come. The value of these greenfield sites is going to dramatically increase. That's going to make £5 million look like pocket change to these multi-billion pound companies.
It was after the National Garden Festival, hosted in the 1980s, that the local authority began working with St Modwyn. What followed was the setting up of a joint initiative. There were ambitious plans to transform this former steelworks site and boost the city's economy.
The cynics may be shaking their heads, but those involved have no doubts whatsoever.
And this is Festival Park Today, one of several projects where the city's skyline was changed when new employers arrived. The council said through Stoke-on-Trent Regeneration Limited, it's supported the development of a number of sites across the city which have led to significant job creation. It said it's taken the decision based on current economic conditions, independent advice and valuation, that now is a sensible time to sell its shares. We asked the ruling Labour group at the council for an interview. We were told nobody was available. It'll be for voters to judge the merits of this deal. Liz Copper, BBC Midlands Today, Stoke-on-Trent.
A former ambulance worker has described emergency response times as disgusting after his elderly mother faced a 7-hour wait for an ambulance. Steve Hume's 83-year-old mother Betsy was unable to move after she fell while in her garden in Leek in Staffordshire. In desperation, Steve got help from Staffordshire Fire and Rescue Service to get her to hospital.
Glad I'm not still working for him, if I must be honest, because if this is the state of the ambulance service now, I wouldn't like to be going to people and 12 hours later or 7 hours later or whatever it might be after they've called for an ambulance.
Campaigners have won their battle to reopen inpatient beds at a community hospital in Shropshire. The Save Our Beds campaign in Bishop's Castle petitioned for the 16-bed ward to reopen after it closed in 2021 over staffing and safety concerns. Shropshire Community NHS Trust says it's now recruiting nurses before announcing a date for reopening. A farm in Herefordshire is calling for the government to stop people from keeping wild animals as pets. Wildside Exotic Rescue currently cares for nearly 200 animals, some donated, but others seized by the authorities. Elliot Ball reports.
Wildside Exotic Rescue in Herefordshire has become a sanctuary for 200 wild animals.
These, like most of the animals around here, have come from someone's back garden. And I came across a raccoon in a small little cage in a garage who was dirty, damp and incredibly unhappy.
15 years later, the centre, run by Lindsay McKenna, now is home to everything from capybara, wallabies, monkeys and even mountain lions. But even a well-run centre like this will never be able to replicate the animal's natural habitat.
The legal minimum enclosure size for one mountain lion is 28 square metres, and that's exactly what we've got mapped out around me right now. In the wild, their territory would be at least 80 kilometres. Lindsay says this enclosure type guarantees one thing, and that's total misery for the animal.
I'd say it's easier to get approval to have a mountain lion living in your back garden than it is to adopt a cat or dog from a UK-based rescue home.
She's now calling for tighter legislation.
The bottom line is, please, no more wild animals into the UK, into homes, gardens and cages. But that's the extreme end, the end we want. The intermediate is that every wild animal that is in the UK has to have a licence, whether it's dangerous or not.
A DEFRA spokesperson said the legislation is kept under regular review and that anyone wishing to keep an animal covered by the current legislation would need to be carefully vetted and apply for a licence. Elliot Ball, BBC Midlands Today, Herefordshire.
Swimming and Droitwich's Matt Ridges has qualified for the Paris Olympics. The 21-year-old narrowly won the 100 metres freestyle final at the British Championships in London this evening. Only the top two make the team. Matt's winning time of 47.84 seconds was also fast enough for the qualification time. He swims again in the 200 metres freestyle at the weekend. Time to take a look at the weather. It's Shafali.
Hello, a very good evening to you. Well, the story is still the same for the remainder of the week. Showers and sunshine, followed by bouts of rain. But we've got two storms on the way. Storm Olivia is on our doorstep right now. Storm Kathleen will be affecting us as we head into Saturday. But it means that we've got lots of showers, some rain, more showery on Sunday, but mild conditions also on the way, and windier ones too. So it's a little bit turbulent over the coming days. This is Storm Olivia, and what it's doing is bringing up rain from the southwest through tonight. So there's plenty of it around. It's quite a wet night, heavy bouts of rain locally, and it'll be with us towards the end of the night too. So keeping our temperatures up at around 11 to 12 Celsius, and tomorrow another very windy day, but we'll be left with a scattering of showers and some sunshine, highs of 17 Celsius.
Heavy bouts of rain, who'd have guessed it? That's it from the late team. Good night.
Good night.